Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Tarda Zone Talks. We have a funny article here, and I say funny because Chris Chibnall actually thinks we care. But I will say this, it is some good news because the fact that he said this should make a lot of Doctor Who fans happy. So, as I said, I'm not going to read the whole article because even now on this article that I'm reading, they say that they may earn a commission. So basically, if I read out the whole article and stuff, they can earn something off it. So I won't. And that's what I've been doing. I've just been reading the bits of the article that interest us. So the headline is Chris Chibnall says he's done with Doctor Who. Absolutely never again. Now, I was going to put the absolutely never again in, but I couldn't because, you can only use a certain amount of characters and stuff. I'll see if I could stick it in. I'm not sure if I can. I might be able to do it on the YouTube channel. So, first of all, as if we'd want them back in the first place is the thing I would say. And not since it was announced he was leaving. This is the second bit of good news that we could get. I do not want this man anywhere near Doctor Who ever again. Right? I don't. He doesn't deserve to come back after what he has done to this show. Right? Anyway. So this article says, don't expect Chibnall to follow in Russell T Davies' step, thank God. Blah, blah, blah about the end of his era. Chibnall is to be replaced. Nobody gives a crap. Blah, blah, blah. But this is what he said. Chibnall has made his position on a potential comeback for himself very clear. He said, absolutely never again. Clear red line. Final script. I never expected to come back after working with Stephen Moffat, really. And I turned it down a couple of times after that. So again, he's confirming what we've all said, that he turned down this show a few times before he actually took the show. So we've always asked him, why did he take it? And what was his motivation for taking it? And I think we have seen what his motivation and what his plan was over the last 5 years. He didn't really have a plan. But his motivation was to do something different with the show, which did not pay off and ended up destroying everything about the show we love and know. He goes, I never thought I'd be offered a job, and built into that is why I wanted to keep it very specific, 3-series thing. Supervising teenagers, revision is taking up my time now, and there's a lot of other things to write. I'd happily sit back and watch. For all that it's been generous all along. Now it's like, oh, I remember this. This is what real life is like. So basically, he has ruled out coming back because as far as he's concerned, he's done what he's needed to do with Doctor Who. Now, unlike RTD, who said something very similar but has come back, I think the situation is different there. I don't think he was really finished with Doctor Who. I think he did leave at the right time because he was beginning to become stale, and I think he knew that himself. And I think he needed a breakaway. I think it's done him good, and he'll come back and he'll be regenerated, as they say, and I think he'll be very, very good. And the next article that we will be discussing on the next stream actually is some positive news, hopefully, I know some fans are banking on certain things still happening in the Chris Chibnall era, so they can move on with the RTD era. But Chibnall has said something very interesting about RTD, which we will be discussing in the next article. But again, the fact that he think we'd want them back anyway, like doing this interview, well, I'm not coming back. I did what I had to do. We don't want you back anyway. You need to understand this. Your era is hated. Your female doctor is hated. Your stories are hated. Your character development was poor. Story development was very poor. Right? It was a mumble jumble mess, especially the last season. Poorly edited. Scenes allegedly cut from recent episodes, and we know that's happened in past series as well. There's actually photographs of monsters that he was to have in a certain episode, and he cut them completely out. So it's not unheard of, because people are saying that the rumor about the Legend of the Sea Devils is untrue and all this. They don't get what a rumor is anyway, but the fact that he's done it in the past, I wouldn't put it past him if it's true about the Legend of the Sea Devils. That's my point. I'm not saying it's true. All I'm just saying is he has previous on the show. But look, I think that's good news for us all. I'm glad he's come out and said that. Because, the fact of the matter is that I think some fans out there would actually need to hear that he's never going to return. And I hope he stays true to that, because he needs to understand he did destroy the show. He didn't do anything amazing with it. And you know what? Fair enough, this era has fans. I don't get it, but this era does have fans. Not many, but it does have fans. But I don't get it. It goes completely against everything that Doctor Who was and is. So I just, he needs to understand. Maybe, I don't know. He might have a break away, for obviously he's gone. Maybe when he's writing other stuff, he might take a look back at it, and he might have some regrets, because Moffat did. It'll be interesting to see what his regrets were. Because then that's because Moffat did have genuine regrets, and you could see that he really, we've came to the conclusion that some of the stuff that was injected into his era was forced by the BBC, and he has come out and actually spoke about that, but he has spoke about some of the stuff he done himself. So it'll be very interesting to see if Chibnall in a few years' time will actually come out and say what regrets he had. I'd be surprised. I don't think it'd be the same level as Moffat. I think it'd be something along the lines, well, I wanted to bring in this character and have them this way and that way, but I wasn't allowed, and stuff like that. Be agenda driven or something, but it won't be about what regrets he had about his writing, because I think by the sounds of that interview, never come back, never, absolutely never again. Well, as if we'd want you to come back. Fans are relieved that, listen, the day of your announcement, Chris, and Jodie's announcement that you were officially leaving, right, was the happiest day in this fandom that I'd seen in a long, long time. The fact that you've come out with this now has put a huge smile on my face. You don't deserve to ever come back to this show. The fact that you've actually admitted in that interview that you turned it down a few times before, a couple of times before, like what we were all saying, why would you give a show to someone that what was offered it before, right, and turn it down? Why would you take it then, all of a sudden? Doesn't make sense. You don't give someone like that the show that turned it down twice, because that means they either don't have faith in their own ability, or They just don't think they're good enough. There had to be reasons why he turned it down twice. And it wasn't because there was something else. Because they obviously wouldn't have offered it to him if they thought he was busy. So what was it? Was it he didn't believe in his own ability? Or what was it? It can't be the right. It couldn't be the right time because he was working on nothing at the time. If I remember, he had Torchwood. He was doing Torchwood, wasn't he? And then he had done Broadchurch. Right? It was a perfect timing. He had a perfect opportunity to take over. Even after RTD originally wasn't supposed to go to Moffat, they wanted Chibnall. He turned it down then. So when did they offer it? When did he get offered it again? Because he said he turned it down a couple of times, a few times. So when was he offered it? How many times was he offered it? Did RTD offer it to him before a certain point? Maybe RTD was going to leave after series 3 or 4, and maybe that's why he did the specials. Maybe they'd asked Chibnall then, and he turned it down. So RTD did the specials, and then Moffat then came on board. And that's the thing, Gobby Guy. That's his biggest flaw. Out of all of this, that is his biggest flaw. He is not a sci-fi writer. He may have been involved in some sci-fi shows, but he doesn't know how to construct and to do the things that need to be done to make a successful sci-fi. Even Torchwood, to a certain extent, if you watch it, it is more like a drama with an alien stuck in it. But I do enjoy it. I'm not going to knock it, and and it's written. Some of it is written by him. I'm not going to knock it. I personally like Torchwood, but Doctor Who's a different animal altogether. Doctor Who is a different animal. You know, it's difficult because not only does a showrunner have to come in and understand sci-fi, but he's also got to get that balance right that you can bring in the mainstream audience so it's not confusing for them. Right? So there's a balance that needs to be had there. But what he's done is that the scales have gone the other way. Instead of having that balance, he's gone more into the soapy drama sort of thing because he doesn't know how to write sci-fi. He brings in then the gimmicks, the countdowns. You know, he brings in characters then, and their only objective or their only job is they're either a plot device or they speak on the screen and explain the plot to us. And even the Doctor, the main character, has done that. Instead of trying to construct a story that actually explains it within the story, he has to get the lead to come on screen and explain it to its audience. Just like he did with that animation, explain the whole plot to the audience because he hasn't done his job properly, because he doesn't know how to write sci-fi, and that has been his biggest downfall. And one of his weaknesses, which I didn't think was a weakness, you know, because Broadchurch Series 1 is very good, but his character development in that was very good. So how can you go from great character development in that, and then when you do your first Doctor Who, see the character development for each character is so poor, so one-dimensional, it's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. Look, the powers that at BBC are to blame for this, though, because you don't give a man like that the job. Now, I saw a tweet by someone, and I actually responded to it, right? But someone was trying to make the point that if Chris Chibnall hadn't took over after Moffat, the show would have went in hiatus. Therefore, we wouldn't have had any more Doctor Who. Well, if I had known what we know now back then, I would have gladly took the hiatus after Stephen Moffat. And it'd probably still be on hiatus today. Right? But I would take that hiatus because it's at least under Stephen Moffat, yes, he had his flaws within his era. right? But still, Series 10 would have been far more a better way to go out on your last series before you put it on hiatus than have it go through the 5 years that it's went through now. So I'm sorry. No. I'm not grateful for anything Chris Chibnall has done. I'm not grateful for the fact that he took over for Stephen Moffat. BBC should have put the show on hiatus. And I'd even go back and say that the show should have been actually put on hiatus after the RTD era, because I think it had already run out of steam. But they wanted to keep it going because they knew the 50th anniversary was coming along. So they brought in Stephen Moffat. But I would have put the show on hiatus for a year or two after RTD. And I would have brought in then someone, maybe not Stephen Moffat, look around, have a proper look around, see if there's any writers out there that appeal to them. Now, I'm not saying I regret them bringing in Stephen Moffat. I mean, Stephen Moffat still gave us some great stories and had us at the edge of our seats, but he also frustrated us, and we won't lie about that. But I would have preferred the show to be on hiatus because we wouldn't have got what we got now. The show wouldn't be dragged through the mud, right? It wouldn't be a laughing stock, right? It's not popular with the mainstream audience. And by the way, the mainstream audience are the main audience, right? We might have fans for these shows, yeah? But fans can't just keep a show going. And the Doctor Who has proven that, right? You need that mainstream audience. But if the mainstream audience are tuning out, then you don't have a hope in hell. So Doctor Who under RTD must do what it did in his first run. It must appeal to a mainstream audience. And Moffat's appeal to a mainstream audience. Chibnall's decided to narrow the field. They decided to focus on certain demographics within the fandom. Not the fandom, the mainstream audience, which brought these new fans in, and obviously the Jodie Whittaker stands and all it is. Right? That's what BBC and Chris Chibnall decided to focus on. Therefore, it wasn't going to appeal to the mainstream audience. Right? Because whether the people on social media like it or not, the whole world isn't on social media. And whether you agree with it or not, right? Opinions are different out on the outside world, in the real world, right? So what something that you necessarily believe in, some ordinary Joe Soap that's living at home working 9 to 5 mightn't believe that. You might have different opinion, a different view. Okay, that's the problem. That's what RTD must go back to. Is bringing back a mainstream audience and at the same time keeping fans happy. But he got that balance right, in my opinion. He got that balance absolutely right. Moffat didn't. Now, he wasn't too far off, but the balance was slightly off with Moffat. But RTD got that balance right. But Chibnall just proved that if you go the other way, right, and you don't have that balance right, this is what you get. Exactly. They try to appeal to an audience that simply never was going to be there. When you pander, you fail. And here's another thing. The whole BBC's plan was to replace... See, they thought for every fan and every viewer that they lost, that somehow a female doctor was going to bring in more women to the fandom. Right? Now, while it has brought some women into the fandom, there'd be no denying that, it didn't have the desired trick. You see, again, as Gobby said, you can't afford to be pandering to one side or another. You know, you've got to get the balance right. You've got to please everybody. And yes, It can be hard, especially if you're in a sci-fi genre, right? But I can tell you, RTD proved you can do it right. Moffat to a certain extent too, right? Doctor Who classic era, same thing, right? It has a history of doing that. That's what this greatest show's strength is. Not just appealing to fans, but appealing to its mainstream audience. And it needs to go back to that. And that leads me into a nice little segue for the next stream that we're actually doing. And we won't do that stream for about a half an hour. We'll give a break between these streams now. So when I leave, we'll have a bit of a half an hour, maybe 45-minute break. And then I'll be back for the final one, which is a doozy. And it's something I've been speaking about on the channel here. But as I said, RTD will have to do what he did. Repeat the same trick from 2005, basically. Not give us what he gave us in 2005 in regards to stories and the way the era was done. But what I'm talking about is bringing in that audience and keeping us happy as well. Right? You can do it. You can actually do it. You know, it's not, there's a formula there, right? And in fairness, RTD got the formula spot on, so I don't expect them to get it wrong this time. Why, you know, the only way that it goes that direction is because he chose to. And that's it. I feel like I told you so doesn't cut it here. Listen, as I said, the next stream I'm going to do is something I've been talking about on the channel, as I said, for ages. But I'm gone past saying I don't really care about what the other side think anymore. The main people that count are the people that follow me, and they know I've never lied to them, and I've been honest. But the next one is interesting because Chris Chibnall has said something about RTD's era, and it's something I've been saying on this channel. And as I said, I've even had actually arguments with people in me chat about, because, you know, I've been very adamant that this was going to happen because I was told it was going to happen. And now Chris Chibnall has either let the cat out of the bag because he knows something, or it's him speculating. But as I said, I'll be back. I'll pour up the stream. I'm going to pour up the stream now in a minute. But as I said, we'll be starting for 40, so that'll give you time to go and do what you need to do. And then if you haven't watched the fourth stream that I've done tonight, and if you haven't watched the Chris Chibnall, Jodie Whittaker Q&A one, go and check that out. And then while you're at it, if you can, check out me Rotten Tomatoes video that I did as well. Very interesting there. It's only a 2-odd minute video. Go and check it out. A little slideshow video, but it's very telling. And I did another one as well with the media, how they set the narrative when Jodie Whittaker was cast and all of that stuff. Go and check that out, because the media are trying to set up another narrative. And, you know, to see through this 5 years, look, we all have 5 years experience now of this. We know how the media do things now, right? We know how certain people out there that have high profile accounts or connected with the BBC try and change the narrative, right? Try to steer the narrative, I might add. Sorry. So, Gobby Guy says, bloody hell no, give me a chance to catch up. Do you know, I don't know what's happened to me over the last couple of days, but I've got this burst of energy, Gobby, and I've just wanted to throw videos out left, right, and centre. I know, man, I need to slow down, but I will. You will have 45. I'll tell you what, it's nearly 20 to 4 now. I'll tell you what, we'll give you an hour. That'll give people plenty of time to check out the other videos as well, right? I'll be back in an hour, right? That'll give you a chance. There you go. Anyway, yeah, come and join me for the next stream. But Chris Chibnall, on behalf of all the Doctor Who fandom and the mainstream audience out there, thank you have decided that you're never coming back to Doctor Who. It is the greatest present since your announcement that you are gone. So thank you very much. Good riddance. Goodbye. Adios, amigo. And don't let the door hit you, man, on the way out. And we never want to see your face around Doctor Who again. Stick to your word. I could have said a lot more there. But you know what? We don't need to because we said it over the last 5 years. But good riddance, mate. You could take your hashtag Dr. 13 and your hashtag good riddance and you could shovel where the sun don't shine. Yeah, JNT is forgiven. I think this fandom after the last 5 years have really reevaluated JNT, and you know what? Rightly fucking so. Rightly so. And I would say to Matthew Waterhouse as well. Obviously, he played Adric, didn't he? You're no longer the worst companion in Doctor Who. So, again, that's something to be proud of because we had them all in Chris Chibnall's era. And R.I.P. Pip and Jane Baker. Yeah, he'll never... Look, I know he said he actually has come out, and I'll give him credit where credit is due. He has actually come out and said he's embarrassed by that. But still, at the time, he was an arrogant little sod. He was. And in some ways he was right. In some ways he was right. But it was because of his attitude and the way he went on and he thought he was better than everybody else. And nobody will ever listen to a person like that. An arrogant little snob. Get away. And on Comic says the Gunfighters is no longer the worst episode. I actually enjoyed that on a watch along we did here. I know it gets some stick, but I actually enjoyed that on this stream. We did a stream on that. I actually enjoyed the Gunfighters. Some of these classic stars. Do you know what I'm watching actually? If Unknown is in the chat there, I just want to give a special shout out to him because I got me hands on Eve of the not Eve of the Daleks. You get that out of your mouth, you dirty, dirty man. Sorry. Evil of the Daleks. I just clattered myself there for real. Holy shit, I just hurt myself. Ow. Anyway. So I've got Evil of the Daleks now. So I'm 3 episodes in. Man. I'm just gonna say this. I'm pissed at the BBC. Right, I got the second episode that's complete as well, obviously. So he gave me the whole lot. It was great. But by God, I'm pissed. That is a great start. I'm only 3 episodes in, and I'm riveted. And the Doctor's face, Troughton's face when he sees the Daleks, man. Oh my God. Oh my God, his face, you could see it. He's died inside. He's devastated that they're there. His acting in this, and I know it's that episode alone, I can tell that this was one of his best acted episodes. It's just such a pity you have to watch the rest in animation, but even the audio itself is compelling. That is a great story, and I'm pissed that there's no surviving copies of the original aired episodes left. There's only one, isn't there? And the rest are gone. That was episode 2. Oh my God, Evil is fire. It is Jordan Jackrabbit. It is. Oh man. BBC. Well, look, I know it was the thing at the time, but Jesus Christ. These people need to use their heads. If I had a time machine, that's what I'd do. I would. I know it sounds stupid, right? But my love for Doctor Who was so strong. I'd go back through time. I'd go back to the BBC. and I'd find some way of saving all of that stuff. All of it. By God, man. By God. Anyway, brilliant. I have to be honest. If you haven't seen it, look, I'll say this to you. I'm not a fan of, as I've said, some animations I have liked and some animations. The animation is actually pretty decent in this as well. I will say that. But I just want to say this, man. I don't normally go out and encourage people to buy animations, and for obvious reasons. But this story is just so good, and the animation is actually pretty decent. That I would say, if you were gonna buy a Doctor Who animated story, this would be the one. So I'll leave it there, which is right. Go on. It's quarter to now, so we'll be back at it's quarter to 4 now, so we'll be back at quarter to 5. So I want to thank everybody for tuning in. The last stream is well, as I said, spoke about this on the channel. So we'll see what you guys actually have to say about what Chris Chibnall has said. Very interesting comments. So he either knows something or he's just speculating. But I think he knows something. And you know why I think he knows something? Because, as I said, they are friends, and there's no way that they're not telling him what he's doing with the show. I'm telling you. So I think he knows something. But look, we'll talk to you soon. Have a good one. Thanks for tuning in. Nice to see all yous again. And I'll see yous in an hour. Have a good one. Bye. And bye, Chris. It was not nice knowing you, but bye bye.